said the war was distant, that Super Earth was safe. But fire tore through New Haven's trees, and Pylon burned in flame. Widow's Harbor cracked and bled, its skies turned cold and black, and the line we swore would hold the front would never make it back. This ground beneath our flag is blood and steel and flame. We fight not for the glory, we fight because we came. When darkness falls on freedom's home, we answer not for fame, but for the ground beneath our flag. We will not die in vain.
Evening's Freedom's Bug Blasters. That was Grand Beneath Our Feet by one Praetorian, published a little over a month ago, back when we were dealing with the Great Host Fleet that was kicking over our planet, setting them on fire, and walking all over us with their dirty boots, over the crisp wet sheets of the bed that we had just made. Honestly, that whole campaign was just so touch and go. I burned through a lot, I mean a lot, of MG-43 bullets during those days, to the point that the geological analysis indicated that New Haven was 0.00013% lead. By the time that I was dragged off of it kicking and screaming, it was 13%. So, what ended up happening today? Well, the thing that I mentioned about increasing planetary lead percentages? The bug divers were doing it to Gatria. Heck, I've been so busy with my various chores and move preparations that I didn't even get a chance to dive today. I just hope it's not over before I get some. As I mentioned in a prior broadcast, autocannons pop bugs in just such a satisfying way, and Angel Corp manufactured autocannons have that platinum-coated ammunition feed that promises to never ever jam, regardless of whether it's filled with sand, covered in mud, or troubleshot by Arrowhead R&D. Sorry about that, Arrowhead. You know I love you. This is just some playful ribbing. So, with 2.5 days left on the clock, the only condition yet to be satisfied is the liberation of Gatria, and that's due at some point tomorrow, give or take how the final battle for Ursats goes. I could swear this is a reference to something. Don't get too comfy, Helldivers. Long-range sensor arrays have been picking up some strange activity within the Voldus sector, and Meridia has always been a problem child just waiting to start their next tantrum. Something weird is going on out there. What exactly? Well, you got me. Bots are putting up some kind of tachyon base interference to blind long-range observers, and the Illuminate have always been a creepy bunch of bad guys up to no good in the neighborhood. Now, since there were some questions and requests for further world building, I shall grant this, so we're gonna head back to Angel's Refuge, which we might not have time for again in the near future, so we should probably enjoy it while we can. Tonight's topic? Money. Both on film and in the studio. Some of it in nice piles, others in lovely planky bits of loose change. You see, when I was helping design the economic system of the refuge, I had to sit down for a while and ponder some things over with the help of some Super Earth thinking powder. I couldn't use super credits because, well, Super Earth could crash out our economy whenever they wanted, and I wanted to use something that was, if not immune to the borscht concept of inflation, that at the very least, highly resistant to it. Why does this matter so much to me? Well, let me run some numbers by you. When it was unveiled in 1936 for public consumption, the price for a 12-ounce bottle of Pepsi was 5 cents. For $100, you could buy 2,000 bottles. At today's prices, the market price is a little under $1.50, so that you could buy 66 bottles for $100. Just to put it in old-school terms for my super American historian friends out there. That is a 96.7% reduction in one's buying power for the same product. Oh, that I hate. So I wanted to settle on a reliable gold standard unit of currency whose value doesn't change that much. Something practical, based in reality that everyone could use. Deuterium. By this point, our whole society runs on it, and everyone needs energy. Even in a post-scarcity culture such as ours, currency is helpful for bookkeeping, at the very least. However, it is so incredibly efficient to use, to the point that we had to make several smaller subcategories of monetary value. Nanodeuterium, microdeuterium, militarium in D unit, referred to as motes, wisps, sparks, and astrums, because, yeah, we're artsy. It goes up from there to solars, galaxies, and universes of energy, which is mostly reserved for terraformation and military-grade expenses. To put this in proper perspective, a single mote's worth of energy is usually enough to reliably cook 1 pound of rice, provided, of course, that your rice cooker does not suck. An astrum of energy is the equivalent of 1 gram of deuterium, or 10,000 super credits. And a galaxy's worth of energy is what a super destroyer in an active combat scenario requires for a single day's operation. So before, when I said the usual monthly UBI level was 34,000 MD, or 34,000 wisps, that is enough of a monthly energy allotment to cook 34 million pounds of rice, assuming that you did nothing else with it. Though that much rice is going to be a little difficult to come by, even out here, though food is mostly free in some areas of the planet. In fact, most areas of the planet by now. We can get away with that because of our mastery of agricultural drones. That might sound like a lot, but UBI is only really meant to cover the essentials. Food, shelter, education, internet access, public transport, use of personal fabricators, and a little left over for hobbies and luxury expenses like art or music AI generation, virtual games, or something possibly a little less hikikomori for some of my more esoteric audience members. While the value of the super credit might fluctuate like an incontinent giraffe on a roller coaster with a bladder infection, one mo will always cook 1 pound of rice because physics don't inflate. Fiat currency does. And we've already run a number of simulation models based on potential problems that could crop up. Cash hoarders like billionaires? Generally not permitted. And easily detected for that matter. Excess energy collection is subject to an audit, and you really need to prove that you need that much of a reserve on hand for what you have in mind. It is frowned upon by many to hoard and stockpile that which is freely given, just so you can keep more than everybody else. We have also foreseen the issue of price gougers during time of emergency as well, because, like it or not, the Illuminate are going to get back in here one day, and we gotta prepare for that. And when they do, they are going to get a very hard, very fast lesson not to mess with the radio angel. Threaten my home again, Slif, and you will see what I am really capable of. The point is, while energy's true value might not fluctuate, during a time of emergency, the perception of it might. It is the age-old adage of the aristocracy selling off their jewelry for a sack of potatoes during the siege. Is it worth that much? Not really, but when you're starving, it might feel like it. So to counteract that, we've come up with something called the Equilibrium Protocol. Once the time of catastrophe has passed, be it the fire's put out or the noodle face is sent packing, all accounts are subjected to a cursory audit. Victims of price gouging will have their energy expenses reset to fair market value for what they purchased, and those who profited from such a foul practice will have their ill-gotten gains refunded to a communal pool that all may draw upon in time of need. Within reason, of course. The concept here is that with the needs of all being seen to, and scammers and rip-off artists not even being slightly rewarded for their nefarious actions, the practice will gradually fall off completely. It's not that crime here doesn't pay. It's just that it is so easily thwarted, it's not worth the time to punish you for it. With all of this being said, it's not like we're rocking after the whole, from each according to their ability, true Marxist philosophy here. There is plentiful incentive to contribute to society, and one of the most common practices is independent energy generation. Power company entrepreneurs. It is extremely unwise to put all of our eggs in one basket, and deuterium doesn't generate infinite energy, just enough that we're unlikely to reach the top end of what can be produced unless we really screw things up. We've got wind turbines, solar panels, geothermal plants, Sabbatine natural gas reactors, so on, all owned and operated by citizens of the Refuge, and said power plants have their maintenance and upkeep subsidized by Angel Corp. They pump energy into the system, they get a bit of extra scratch for it, and that's generally how here. Your essential needs are taken care of, but if you want more luxuries than the bare minimum, we're gonna have to see a little bit more commitment and effort. Heck, I had even heard of some children living in the Golden Cove region that have taken to buying a few extra solar panels and setting them out after they mowed the lawn so they can earn a little bit more allowance money. Is that not just the most adorable thing ever? I think my audience members' hearts might have just exploded. Houses are designed with roof solar panels, micro wind turbines, piezoelectric flooring, thermoelectric energy generation using the Seebeck effect, and another dozen odd-some little tricks and innovations to be as energy efficient as possible. People generate energy from the grid just by walking around, so while we haven't yet cracked the secret toward infinite energy, we are coming pretty darn close. Oh, what's piezoelectric? Well, certain crystals, when subjected to external pressures, can generate a small amount of voltage. You can see this in something as small as a stethoscope, but one of the more common ways that we've applied it is lining the floors of metro hubs with quartz crystals. People step on the floor, generates a small amount of voltage, and during rush hour, that small amount of voltage generated thousands of times a second isn't quite so small anymore, and ticket and information terminals can be kept running even in the midst of a total blackout. That goes back to the whole planning for the inevitable illuminate invasion thing that I was talking about before. A lot of people died because the Squids shut up the infrastructure, they got lost, didn't know where to go, and they got cornered by flesh mobs. To round out the show, I'd like to cover one last method of power generation the citizenry can partake in, and that's the power of muscle. Yes, indeedy. There are multiple gyms set up throughout the capital city that can take the cyclical motions of spinning bikes, ellipticals, treadmills further enhanced by piezoelectric belts, resistance machines, and so on, all capable of generating voltage. Aside from giving workout enthusiasts a little bit of extra scratch, these gyms serve another purpose. In an emergency, they are designed to be able to recharge Helldiver-issued energy weapons. So if the Squids think that we're cornered and out of ammo again, they are in for one of the harshest final surprises of their deaths. And get this, the name of these gyms? You've heard of the gym grind set? These are gym grid sets. That has been Liberty's latest with me, Pandera the Radio Angel, and I hope that you've enjoyed another glimpse into my crafted world. Chances are that we will be consumed with the next major order, and we won't get another chance to come back here for a while. You can always tell the divers are from the Refuge, both for their gift in combat and for the wistful sighs of longing for home. Everyone fights a little bit harder when they have something that they love so dearly behind them. For liberty, for freedom, for democracy, and for the preservation of Angel's Refuge.